Man, I lost my good mic, so you guys are on the Rode plugged up mic instead of the little wireless one that hangs off here. But welcome back to the channel, man. Today we're gonna be doing something a little bit more interesting. Now that my turtles are a little bit bigger, I'm gonna be introducing them to the outdoor area where I have my garden, as well as my iguana, the redfoot tortoise, and the leopard tortoise. So right now we're just getting back from Home Depot. We picked up a few items. We're going to take everything inside, kind of show you guys everything that we have for the setup, and then we're going to shoot from there, see what we can do outside with the little pond liner that we have, set it up with some plants possibly, and get them outside. That way they can get that fresh, that true, that UVB. Starting it off, man, quick and easy. The iguana needed a new trellis inside of his cage, so I usually go to Home Depot and I grab these. The last one that I grabbed, they're stapled together terribly, so it broke. So I copped another one, but this time I'm gonna drill screws into each one of these post pieces. That way there's absolutely no chance it comes apart. Order of business, cheap trash can. What I'm gonna do with this, and I'm going over everything while I'm inside because it is 98 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and I have no desire to go through all of this, and I still have to dig a hole for the pond liner, set up the actual bucket for the biofilter, as well as a bunch of other things while I'm standing out there. And luckily it's no longer in direct sunlight, but this trash can I'm gonna use as a hide for the turtles underneath of the water, just something for them to get in that they can hide inside of and feel comfortable, because it'll be all enclosed in black on the inside. I got a few different types of tubing. This is a 1/2-inch tubing that I may use for the actual pump itself. The pump that we're going to be using is this one from Active Aqua. It's a submersible 80 watt 1,110 gallons per hour water pump, possible of pumping up to 12 feet, and that may either be connected with a 3/4 to 1/2 inch reducer, just because I may want to use the black tubing, or if I don't use the black tubing, I have a 3/4 inch tubing that's like 6 foot long that I may go with. It just depends on how I want it to look and how far away the actual biofilter is going to be from everything once we get it all set up. And then outside of that, that same pump has a an air line connected to it that I'm going to use this 1/4 inch outside diameter clear vinyl tubing for. And then this is just a plant basket, as well as some of the reducers and the little coupling pieces that we're going to use. Once we actually get everything connected on, these will go over top of it, screw these down, and make sure that everything stays watertight. And then outside of that, we just got some other random odds and ends. This is like a charcoal bag, as well as another set of charcoal just to help with the actual biofilter media. And then what I'm gonna do with these is, I actually was at the Petco, and I decided, because they had just got their cricket shipment in, I'm assuming it looks like 1,000 larges are gonna come in each one of these. What I decided to do was, I'm gonna pour the hydro balls, which are clay balls that people use for hydroponics a lot of the time, as well as some larger pieces of charcoal, into one or both of these. And then what I'll do is I'll completely cover it off from the top up here with either a zip tie or a staple of some sort. And then once I have that done, this will just be another part of the actual biofilter. Just an easy way for me to contain the balls that are in there. And then that way, once I want to pull them out, I can just rinse these bags down, or if anything starts to break down, I can open the bags back up, replace the filter media, and then, you know, interchange it from there. And then outside of that, what I'm gonna try and do is, with these things, this is just a sponge filter. I may end up plugging this up depending on how I feel about the water quality after maybe 2 or 3 weeks or so. If I feel like it needs more aeration, then I'll add in this big sponge filter. But what I'm gonna do with these is, I'm actually gonna create a top for the actual pond liner itself. And what I'll do is, I'll create little holes inside of that top piece, and then I'll put these planters inside of it, and I'm going to try and do some growing of maybe not vining plants, but maybe some things that grow straight up, possibly tomatoes, things that have really strong roots and do well growing in just direct water with a lot of nutrients in it. And these are just little plastic cups that you can get from a hydroponic store as well. And then outside of that, the last thing that we have is this absolutely huge piece of plastic tubing. And I'm going to do basically the same thing that I did with the trash can with this one, which is put this inside of the bottom of the pond liner and just make it available for the turtles to go inside and out of it, as well as the fish once I add them. It's just an added place for them to get away from either, you know, the direct sunlight or possibly even predators. If something does get close, they have somewhere to hide. That's a little bit less natural than some of the wood that I'm going to put inside the cage. But now that we've kind of gone through everything, you guys have the gist. I'm going to go outside, show you guys a pond liner, and then from there dig a huge ass hole. Hopefully that doesn't take too long, and then try and get this either set up today or tomorrow. But let's get outside and let's get to it while we got some shade, man. So you ever start a side quest and then immediately when you start looking for something, it seems like everybody either moved it or it's not where it's supposed to be? Man, I was supposed to start digging 30 minutes ago. This shovel was underneath of the deck, underneath of something else, and I just used it last week. And then I can't even find the good shovel that has the little handle on the top for the grip. So I got what I need now, man. I got my shovel, my other shovel that helps with digging the trenches. And then as you guys can see over here in the cut, we've got a absolutely huge pond liner. I have absolutely no clue where this came from, but you know, I'm definitely one to take advantage of my resources. And I used to go back in these woods that are behind my house all the time, literally 24/7 as a kid. And recently when I came back, I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I found this back in the woods somewhere, just flipped over. Came back home, washed it out, and now I've got a free $500 value pond liner that I'm about to install in this back corner back here right next to my tortoises. So I'm gonna get to the digging, man, and just turn this into a quick time lapse. That way we can get this in the ground and then get the fun part started. See you guys real soon. So tomorrow we'll just come in, completely vacuum this out, get rid of all this extra dirt, set up the pump and the biofilter, and then probably let it run for about a week or so before we put the turtles in, and then we'll keep an eye on them, a close eye on them for probably about 2 weeks or so, and then from there they should be pretty much good to go up until we get closer towards the fall months. So I'm gonna check in tomorrow with you guys, man. I'm about to go get a shower and get out of here. All right, family, another day. More work that needs to be done for these turtles to go outside, man. So it's been hot as hell in Maryland, and we've been getting rain on top of that, so just humid, wet outside, no dry heat, just humidity. But right now the little pond liner filled up with some water a little bit, so I'm gonna suck out as much as I can, as well as the dirt, and then we're gonna get this biofilter set up, get the water inside, a few plants in it, and then we're gonna see if we can get everything all done today before it gets dark out, because we've only got a few more hours of light now that daylight savings time is starting to end. So during our intermission, I set up a few new items, and as you can see, this is George, or Iggy, or whatever somebody on TikTok named him some time ago. I've had him for almost 10 years, but as you can see, he's in an outdoor dog enclosure with a bunch of large sticks, heat light, and he gets all the UV and food that he needs out here during the summertime. But as of right now, I think this is what we're going to run with the biofilter. So what we've got going is I actually went to a Petco, and as you know, sustainability activist, someone that just likes reusing things, you know. I went and I grabbed what these are, is actually the things that the crickets come in when they ordered them from whoever they get them for wholesale. And what I did was I filled one bag up with hydro balls, which are the kind of like that orangish brown color clay balls, and then the other side is some charcoal. And then what I'll do on top of that for the biofilter, is I'll have it set up sort of like this. So more than likely I'll have these little filter pads here, which are just aquarium filter pads. This on the bottom level. These will kind of be stacked on top in such a way that they'll kind of slowly build up that bacteria. And then what I'll do is, once that's all set up, I'll have this pump at the bottom of the actual pond liner itself, covered in this, just to kind of keep all the larger contaminants out of it. In the case that it does get super dirty, this will kind of protect it from those larger things. This is going to have a tube in it that shoots out of this opening up into here. And then what I'll do is, I used to have a hydroponic system that had a kind of like a outlet that will come out from right here. So I'll set up 2 outlets, one on each side. So once the water gets down to the bottom and filter it through this top media, then we'll have ourselves a little biofilter that after it runs for a while, it'll build up a nice strong layer of bacteria that will help promote plant growth, as well as keep the turtles and the fishies safe inside of our little backyard pond. So what I recommend doing is, whenever you set up any sort of media, whether it be inside or outside, is to completely rinse this stuff thoroughly. So a lot of this charcoal will have like this black tint that'll come off of it as you rinse through it. So kind of shake it around and spray it to get as much as that black soot out that you can. That way, once it starts to filter, it doesn't have to filter all this stuff into your water first and foremost. And then the same with the hydro balls, they'll usually have like a dust over them or something like that. So I usually will just throw them in the bag and then just rinse through them until the water comes out basically almost clear. And so what we've got going on here is a bit of a mess, and it's probably going to come back to bite me in the ass, but I cut the holes too large and I didn't want to not use the container. So what I did was I just slapped some silicone all around it, and it looks messy. And then I siliconed in on the insides as well, and then drilled this hole here for the inlet, or excuse me, the outlet for the pump that's at the bottom. So outlet will come through here, that'll filter water into here. We'll have our media on the bottom, filter pads on the top, and then that will come back out of these probably about, I'd say, 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches up from the bottom. That way everything does settle, and we're just getting hopefully clear water out of these 2 pieces here. So it looks good, but we won't know if it works until after we get that filled up, which we're going to do now. And then after I fill it up, I'm going to come back to you guys, because it is starting to get a little bit dark. Come back to you guys another day once it's filled and it's been running for a while, just to give you an update, and hopefully everything will have went smoothly. So man, there is just a general idea on what the pond came out to look like. So as of right now, I'm going to let it run for probably about a week or so. But let's get into some of the details in case you guys have some questions. So the first thing that I usually throw in, and I always do these inside as well, is this Dr. Turtle calcium block. That'll help condition the water as well as provide calcium to both the fish and the turtles that are going to go in, and also help strengthen our plants that we have over here in the corner. So as you guys can see, we've got some plants up over here. I can't remember what the name of these are. I think it's like a water lettuce or some sort of species. And then we have like a dwarf water lettuce as well, which are kind of like that top growing plant that you'll see in a lot of aquariums. And then I got this elephant ear from Home Depot a long time ago, and it's just been branching off into more and more shoots. So I moved one of those over here. These leaves are probably going to die off, and then it'll come back with a new growth. It's pretty strong, surprisingly, and with all this humidity and heat, it seems to be doing great outside. But we've got a larger piece of wood right here for them to get up and bask on during the day. They'll usually get sunlight on this half, and this area usually always stays dark. And I'm going to top everything off with a huge tarp. That way it'll be protected from the rain. If it does rain, it doesn't overflow, and then also it doesn't get a bunch of direct sunlight. So as you guys can see, we've got our filter running. So let's go through some of the details of what we got going on inside of here. So as of right now, we've just got the yellow Home Depot bucket. On the inside, what we've got running is pretty much just the filter pads like we showed on the top, and then the one of the hydro ball bags, and then one of the bags, the one with the charcoal in it. Charcoal, there we go. And then what I've got that doing is coming from our pump down here on the bottom that you guys saw that we filled up from yesterday. And that pump is basically shooting the water up into here, and then these offshoots are bringing the water back in after it gets filtered. And then that'll just provide us some aeration for the water. That way we don't get a huge amount of mosquitoes, and any that we do, we're going to have some mosquito fish in here as well that'll eat those mosquitoes up. And then the turtles love crickets, roaches, anything else that falls in here, which it seems seems like they have been doing. They'll come up, eat them, and then go back down into hiding. So we've got our trash can down on the bottom, which you guys might not be able to see, and then just a few other pieces of wood here, and then that larger piece of plastic that I was showing you guys earlier is sitting in the corner here somewhere for them to go up in this back dark space and hide if they want to get away from any of the elements or anything that's going around in here. And that goes for the fish or the turtles. And then outside of that, we've got some pothos growing, as well as some local native plants that I found in a pond system in our backyard. And then that's pretty much the whole rundown. So as you guys can see, it's super simple. Pond liner, fill it up with water, get yourself a little biofilter set up, which you guys kind of got the full rundown on. That biofilter is going to shoot that water back in for you. And then I do have this sponge filter, which I may end up running, but it just depends on how I'm feeling once I actually get everything all set up. So as of right now, we're just going to let this run for a bit. Hopefully some of the plants will grow in, everything will root in fully, and then once everything's rooted in fully, I'll give it one nice cleaning all around to get any dirt off the bottom with just an aquarium siphon. And then from there, that's pretty much everything, man. And of course, if you guys have any questions, the YouTube comments are weird sometimes when it comes to notifications, so feel free to follow my Instagram, shoot me a message, and I'm always welcome to get back to you guys. Otherwise, thank you guys for tuning into another video, man. I'm looking forward to doing more projects like this one, which take a few days instead of those quick, you know, Instagram series that may get a little bit of views, but it's nice to have you guys be able to come back and view these videos a little bit easier on YouTube, man. Herp Hero, signing out. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a beautiful week, man. Ciao.